Society is obsessed with the grind. We talk endlessly about Gen Z's burnout and the boomers' wealth, but there is a group caught in the middle. A group we talk about too much for their avocado toast and not enough for their psychological scarring. They are your older co-workers who never complain but have a permanent look of exhaustion. They are the ones who followed every rule, checked every box, and still feel like they're running on a treadmill that's slowly moving backward. The truth? Their psychology is fundamentally misunderstood. We call them entitled, but the reality is far more tragic. They are the victims of the greatest psychological bait and switch in human history. To understand them, you have to go back to the latchkey afternoon. The 1980s and 90s saw a massive spike in dual-income households and divorce rates. Millions of children grew up in the silence of empty living rooms, raising themselves between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. Statistics from the era show that millennials were the most supervised yet unattended generation. They were pushed into every extracurricular activity imaginable to build a resume before they even hit puberty. The lesson drilled into their brains was clear: your value is tied to your output. This environment created a tactical realist. They learned that if they didn't manage their own time, nobody would. They became masters of the figure-it-out mentality, hiding a deep-seated anxiety behind a mask of high-functioning competence. They were sold a promise: work hard, go to college, and the system will take care of you. But as they stepped into adulthood, the system didn't just fail, it betrayed them. They entered the workforce during the worst economic crashes since the Great Depression. The gold watch was replaced by a gig economy. To cope, they developed a mechanism called defensive pessimism. Narrator: they don't expect things to go well. They mentally rehearse for the next recession or the next layoff. This is why they are so obsessed with aesthetic Instagram feeds or curated digital lives. It is the only space they feel they can actually control. Their irony and sarcasm aren't just humor, they are armor against a world that broke its promise. Millennials didn't just join the workforce, they were the efficiency generation. They were the first to be expected to be reachable 24/7 via email, yet the first to see their wages stagnate against inflation. They don't respect authority just because it has a title, they respect competence. Because they've seen leaders crash the global economy twice in 20 years, they operate with a deep-seated distrust of the institutions their parents worshipped. They don't hustle because they want a Ferrari. They hustle because they are haunted by historical trauma. The 2008 crash didn't just take their jobs, it took their sense of safety. Here is the paradox. They are the most independent generation, yet they are paralyzed by the fear of asking for help. Psychology calls this hyper-independence. It's a trauma response. When you grow up learning that help is not coming, you stop looking for it. This leads to a recognized struggle, a generation that is quietly collaborative but internally burning out because they refuse to admit they can't do it all alone. They are the last to remember the tangible world, the smell of library books, and the grit of fixing a bike chain while being the first to be consumed by the digital world. They value the effort of the process, which makes the instant gratification of the modern era feel hollow and unearned. Today, they are the bridge generation. They stand between the old world and the new, trying to translate the soul of the analog era into the language of AI. As parents, they are often over-involved, desperately trying to give their children the emotional safety they lacked in those quiet latchkey afternoons. They are overcompensating for their own broken wings, trying to ensure the next generation doesn't have to grow up quite so fast. To be a millennial is to be the person who keeps the world running while knowing, deep down, that the world might never thank you for it. Their strength isn't in their success, it's in their refusal to stop trying, even after they realize the lie. If this story felt like a mirror, you aren't alone. You were told that trying was enough, and you discovered it wasn't. But in that discovery, you built a resilience that no other generation possesses. If this hit home for you, comment below. What was the lie you were told about success? Subscribe. We're diving deeper into the hidden psychology of our modern lives. Join us. Let's stop the hustle and start the conversation about what real recovery looks like. You aren't broken, you're just the one who survived the transition.